Okay, so just give you an update as to what's been going on. I have been very actively pursuing drum students, trying to get new drum students. Unfortunately, I've lost a few in the last little while, but that's part of being a drum teacher. Students are going to come and go. Some of them I've had for a long time, and they've just decided that work and other activities, you know, karate class and, you know, gym class, whatever, is a little bit more important to them than the drumming. But I always encourage them to not actually quit the drumming. Maybe you don't want to take lessons anymore, I understand, but you shouldn't quit the drums. I couldn't tell you how many times I had students that I ran into later or ran into their parents, and they say, oh, they wish they hadn't quit. They made a mistake quitting. So I've never been one to quit things personally. Usually when I join something, I try to stick with it. I've had drum teachers, I've had many drum teachers, but I've had them for long periods of time. Now, there are one-off lessons. Like I've had a couple of lessons with Steve Smith. You know, I had one lesson with a guy named Laurentian Wilson, a Canadian drummer. But other than that, like there's a few other teachers as well. I mean, back in the 90s, I used to take lessons with a guy who was a Latin funk drummer from California. His name was Chuck Silverman. And back in those days, there was no such thing as what we're doing here now. And there was no such thing as Zoom or Skype or any of that. He would record a video onto a VHS, throw it in the snail mail, send it to me. I would then go through the lesson, throw it in my VCR, go through the lesson. Then I would practice, record myself doing the lesson, snail mail it back to him. I did that with Chuck for years. I've got so many tapes from those lessons, it's comical. Sadly, Chuck passed away a few years ago, but he was an awesome guy. Check out Chuck Silverman on YouTube, a fantastic funk Latin style drummer, really great drummer. So, all right, thank you very much, Liam, giving me the thumbs up for the sound and for the shot. So that's fantastic. All right, I got some sticks here that I want to show you, everybody. And I don't have too many people in here yet, so I'm just sort of hesitating to start the lesson, because one thing about a lesson that can be a little bit tricky is coming in halfway. So I'm going to let some people join us here. But I want to show you this. These are some drumsticks I got. I went to Dom Familero's birthday party, and they gave away these special sticks to only people in attendance. So you can't get these. You can't get these. And you're not going to get them off me, that's for sure, because these are precious to me. They're Dom Famulero. They're made by Vader. They're Dom Famulero 70th birthday celebration sticks. Let me just leave my spot here and see if I can show you. Hopefully you can see that. Dom Famulero 70th birthday celebration drumsticks. And they're really great. Pretty heavy sticks. I have no intention of using them. To be totally honest, these sticks are something that I'm going to keep forever. I'll never use them. They mean a lot to me. Dom Famulero means a lot to me. That was a fantastic party. Got treated like royalty. I was there with all kinds of other really great drummers, you know, hanging out with David Garibaldi, Bobby Randinelli from Blue Oyster Cult, Liberty DeVito, Billy Joel's drummer, Klaus Hessler from Germany, Massimo Russo from Italy. I mean, there was just legendary musicians and people there. The Sabian president, the head of Vader drumsticks, you know, really great people. But you know what? Everyone was really chill. Everybody got to play with the band. There was an amazing house band there, and it was just a lot of fun. Anyways, I can't talk all day. I got to get this lesson started. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the Freestroke to get the sticks bouncing. And then we're going to run some rudiments utilizing the Freestroke. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you'll know I spend a lot of time dealing with technique. And it's not to go faster. Everybody thinks technique is all about speed. Now, it's really great to be able to go fast. That is part of it. But the most important part of developing your technique, the Freestroke, the molar stroke, the Billy Gladstone technique, and other techniques, the Buddy Rich push-pull technique, that sort of thing, all these techniques are to make your drum playing better. Not necessarily to be able to go faster. It's to be able to last an entire gig without your hands and feet giving out on you because they get tired, they get worn out, the muscles wear down. You want to be able to condition yourself so that its ease of movement, your fluidity and flow is top notch, and that comes with good technique. Every great drummer that I've ever seen perform and every great drummer that I've had lessons with always talk about good technique. And if you watch athletes, if you watch dancers, if you watch anyone that's really, really good at something, the first thing they'll tell you is you have to develop the technique to get good. And once you develop your technique, everything else, the speed, the ease of movement, the fluidity, all of that will come with it. So please don't focus on speed so much when you're trying to develop your technique. Think about developing your groove. Think about developing your feel. Think about developing your sound. You know, I think that's more important than the speed, because in the end, when you audition for a band, they don't care how fast you can go. Unless it's a speed metal band, then they do. But generally speaking, they don't care about speed. They care about groove. They care about feel. They care about time. And you making them sound better. Ease of movement, good technique, relaxation, breathing, all these things are going to allow you to make the band sound better. Because in the end, it's not really an individual instrument. Obviously, you got your Terry Bozzios and your Thomas Langs out there that can play ridiculous things in a solo. But for the rest of us, the solo isn't as important as being able to play songs and playing grooves. So, Zeke Trick, hello there. I just saw you here. Thanks for joining me, man. I'm glad you're here. Awesome. Zeke Trick is, I'm actually glad you're here because this guy is always commenting. He's always got great things to say. He's always showing up on the live streams, and just thanks so much. I mean, these are the kind of subscribers and people that every YouTuber, whether you're a drummer or a chef, these are the kind of people that you need supporting you, supporting your channel, and always being there. So Zeke, thank you very much, man. I sincerely appreciate you being here. And if you have any questions or anything, type it out. I'm working on the lesson, but I will get to it. I will not leave you out, I promise. Okay, now let's talk about getting a bounce using the Freestroke. Now I'm going to break this down and show you exactly what's going on here. But as you can see, from this Freestroke full stroke position, so the Freestroke is the movement, the full stroke is the height. You got the full stroke, middle or medium stroke, and you've got the low stroke of this technique, okay? So this is the Freestroke full stroke position. So you're coming from your highest position. And what I'm doing is, again, if you've seen my videos about technique, notice how I'm holding the stick. This finger's out of the way, nice and loose and relaxed. My fingers around the stick, all three of them. This drives me insane. Do not do this, because that leads to tension. And as Dom Famularo would say, tension is the enemy of movement. So we don't want any tension. Zeke, I just got back from Graceland. You're welcome. Wow, Graceland, Elvis. Fantastic. I've been there once, but it was quite a long time ago. Super cool. I love Elvis. I've seen that new Elvis movie a couple times, and that actor that played Elvis, I don't think I've ever seen anyone that looks and acts so much like Elvis. That guy did an incredible Elvis impersonation. Probably the best I've ever seen. Incredible, that guy. I don't know the actor's name, but... Okay, back to what we're talking about. So, from this position, you're going to throw the stick down. It's a throw, but it's only one movement. There is no pull. The stick bounces, and you're just catching it. Now, it's throw and catch, but it's an illusion. It's a bit of a smoke and mirrors trick. You're not actually throwing the stick out of your hand. At no time does it actually physically leave your hand. It's just in such an incredibly loose position that when the stick drops and hits the pad, it just bounces straight back up into the exact position. So you got this. So what I'm doing is I'm throwing it, then I'm following it. I'm allowing it to do its thing. This is the thing that most drummers just don't quite understand. And I've been teaching a long, long time, so I can really say that. Almost every student I've ever had did not understand this. Now, they did come to understand it because this is one of the fundamental things that I teach in all my lessons to all my students. Now, the little kids, I don't focus a lot on technique with them, you know, the 8, 9, 10-year-olds. But once they start getting a little bit older, like today, I taught a lesson to a kid, he's 12. I've been teaching him since he's 5. Only in the last 2-3 months have we really started to get into the whole technique thing. I usually don't worry about it too much till they get a little bit older. But letting that stick bounce. Now you'll notice that I am opening my fingers and I'm allowing the stick to move and then I'm reclosing. So it's this. Now, as far as the tension here, this is the big question I always get asked a lot. This is very loose. And as you can see here, I'm at the second knuckle. And a lot of guys, they don't understand that. Why are you at the second knuckle? Well, that's the best place for the stick to move, to be totally honest. I used to play in the first knuckle. And then Dom Famulero got me to play in the second knuckle because this is the way Buddy Rich used to play. Steve Smith plays like this. I couldn't tell you how many, Tony Williams, you name it. You know, so many guys play on the second knuckle position. And you'll notice here on the second knuckle, nice and loose and relaxed, and I'm just letting the stick bounce. I find that the stick bounces the best in the second knuckle position. And that's why when I studied with Dom and he showed me this, I immediately adopted it and realized that, wow, the way I was playing all along for many years was wrong. Plain and simple, it's wrong. This technique that I'm showing you here today is much better. Now another thing is, I'm going to show you, is make sure you got a space here. So when you're throwing that, do not, you know, tension is the enemy of movement. So we don't want any tension. Let the stick drop, let it bounce. So notice how the stick fires back up. Now, the next step after you start getting this is to move to another exercise that's called exercise for the Freestroke. And what it does is, everything in drumming, if you execute these movements properly, is circular. We don't want square and choppy and rough. We want nice, smooth, circular movements. So, if you notice when I throw the stick, this is a circular movement. You'll see the stick comes bouncing right back. Okay? Now, I can do that, where the stick just completely bounces back. But notice, I'm getting a lot of power out of that throw. But look at the bounce. Okay? So you're getting that bounce. Whoops. I got drum stuff in the way here a little bit. Okay, so you're getting that bounce. You're letting the stick move all the way back into this position. Exercise for the free stroke. Now, how is this a circle? Well, I'll tell you. If you were to let the stick go, the stick would do this. That's a circle. It's a circular movement. And it's flowing. The stick is flowing in that circle. Now, obviously, we're not allowing the stick to fly out of her hand and do that. We're cutting the circle off, but it's a circular motion nonetheless. It's just being stopped at that point. Okay? Now, once you get this circle movement and you get the stick to bounce, this is why it's called the free stroke. The stick is now moving freely. Now, there's no fingers involved at this point. This is pure bounce at this point. Pure bounce. Free stroke, exercise for the free stroke. Free stroke, exercise for the free stroke. Practice this. Practice getting this to get the stick to move. Free stroke is movement. So the purpose of this exercise for the free stroke, or getting it to do this, is just to understand the circular motion, because we're not actually going to be coming from here when we're doing our rolls. But when we take those circles and we condense them to the drum, so for example, I'll show you what I mean. Here's the full free stroke. I keep hitting this. It's kind of annoying me here a little bit. So we're doing this. Now watch what happens when I condense it. Fingers come in. It's still a circle, but it's smaller circles. Nothing has changed. Still a circle. Okay? Nothing has changed. We still got that full circle movement. Now, look at how much power I can generate. I call this the Bruce Lee 1-inch drum throw. Bruce Lee had this punch where he would just move an inch, but he would put all his weight behind it and he could kill people, allegedly, with this punch. So I use the same philosophy when I'm doing these throws. Because look, barely any movement. Look how much power is being generated. Now, translate that to playing a groove. And you'll see that the stick is bouncing. Now I'm stopping the bounces here. Everything is about control. I'm not letting the stick go all the way back because I don't want it to go all the way back, because if I'm doing something like this, if I'm doing some ghost notes, I need the stick to be close to the drum. So I'm not going to bring it all the way back here. However, in terms of developing your bounce, developing the stick movement, allowing the stick to move freely, and really nailing down this free stroke, you've got to do the exercise for the free stroke. Joe Morello, you know, Buddy Rich, all these really great jazz drummers, this is how they played. You know, this isn't new. It's been around for a long, long time. It's just that nobody teaches it. Now, I learned it from Dom Famularo. You need to spend a lot of time just to get that. Just getting those bounces and those circles. Now, you'll notice here, nice bounce. Still circles. Still haven't cut my fingers into this. This is all wrist. All wrist. So we're just doing this at this point. But we are opening and closing in that movement to allow the stick to move. Don't let your fingers get in the way of allowing the stick to move. That's the fundamental problem that I see with so many drummers, is they let themselves get in the way of the movement. So if I was playing just a straight groove, notice how nice and loose and relaxed, and letting this stick bounce. Now let's do a Joe Morello, what's called the Stone Killer exercise. Okay, so that's the exercise we're going to take with this. Now, to get the Stone Killer though, you have to be able to use your fingers. So we're going to do a little warm-up exercise before we do this to get your fingers moving. So we're going to put your fingers up like this, and you're going to move them basically like that. Okay? Now, the reason you're in this position like this with your thumb and forefinger is because you're pretending like you're holding the sticks. Okay? So, we're going to do it to a count though. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these per one count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Now, since I had my finger injury, for those of you that are unaware, I had 3 hand surgeries in April, and I'm still in physio and still trying to get my fingers better. It's a lot better, as you can see, but it's still not 100% by any means. It's still got a long way to go, but I can finally get my fingers to move the way that I want them to move. It's still a little bit stiff compared to my other fingers. My other fingers are really loose. You know, like in my right hand, you can see the looseness. This finger is still a little bit stiff, and I'm still working on it to get that full range of motion and full range of movement back in my finger. But every day it's getting better and better and better. I notice the physiotherapy is helping. All right, so after you do this, say you do that for 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, get those fingers moving, and look how loose and relaxed you want to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, nice and loose and relaxed. Shake it out. Then, after you get that, then we're going to try and do some of this Stone Killer. Well, Zeke, looks and sounds like you have recovered from your hand issue. Not completely. No, like I was just saying, I'm still working on it. It's still not, I still can't close my hand completely. It's, like I said, it's getting there, but I'm still struggling with it a little bit. It's definitely better, but there's a lot of scar tissue that's formed, and when I go to physiotherapy, the guy just about, it feels like he's tearing my arm off. It's brutal. It's really painful, the physiotherapy, but I know he has to do it because he's trying to tear up the scar tissue, because scar tissue will bond you. I talk about being loose and relaxed. Scar tissue is the exact opposite of that. So the physio is definitely helping me there. All right, Stone Killer. Groups of 4 to start, all about the bounce. Now, hopefully, for those of you that are watching, you got your pad and you can do it right with me. If you don't want to, if you just want to watch, I get it. But I encourage you to get your drum pad out and do it with me. Group of 4. Nice bounce. Group of 8. That's another thing. Drum core thing, starting from the full height position. Going slow, because I'm focusing on the bounce. That's all I want. Group of 3 now. 3 of 4, I mean. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, bounce, 1, 2, bounce, 3, group of 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's basically the first part. This is it's a long exercise. There's actually a lot to this exercise. You got group of 4, group of 8, group of 12, group of 16. There's no accents there. It's just straight bounce. Okay. Now, if we do this a little bit faster, that's where this is going to come in, the fingers. So I'm combining bounce, but I'm guiding it with the fingers now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 in each hand. Fingers. 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's a slightly faster version, and as you can see, look how I'm moving the stick. My fingers, I'm nice and loose and relaxed. Now, traditionally, most drummers have the weak hand, either the right or the left. It's usually the left. Now for me, I'm left-handed, so it was my right developing. Now, because of my hand injury and surgery and whatever, right now my left is weak compared to my right, and I'm slowly building it back up. It's coming along, but this finger's not doing a heck of a lot like it used to. Okay? So if your left hand is weak, I suggest you start with your left hand. All right, now we're gonna add something to this that's super cool. I love this, and I do this a lot. It's an awesome, again, continuing the stone killer. You're gonna go right, 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 right. Then you're gonna do a series of lefts, but you're gonna do them as either 16ths or 30 seconds. So if I went 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a. So it sounds a little bit like this, or sorry, it sounds like this a little bit faster. Do that twice. Okay, so let's just run through it now. 1, 2, 3. Two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's bring that up to speed a little bit and have some fun. What I love about that exercise is how it balances your hands out. It forces your right, it forces your left, forces you to start with your right, forces you to start with your left. If you do this exercise often and regularly, you will balance your left and right hand out over time. Everybody always says to me, my adult students in particular, my left hand sucks. What do I do to get my left hand better? Do this. Stone killer. Excellent for balancing the left hand out. Now, you'll notice, you should notice, if you've been doing this with me, you should be feeling some, not tension. Tension's the wrong word. We don't want to feel tension. But you should feel some blood circulation through this part of your arm right here. And it's because when you're moving your fingers, I don't know if you can see it, but that muscle right there is being worked when you're moving all your fingers. So it's normal to get a slight burn sensation when you're doing as much finger work as we're doing here. You're going to feel a slight burn. If you're not feeling that burn, you're not moving your fingers properly. You want to feel that burn right here. I used to have a drum teacher by the name of Ernie Porthouse. Ernie was a fantastic snare drum player, fantastic drum set player, and his technique was among the finest in the world. Amazing technique. And he was the one that used to say to me, you got to get this nice and strong to be able to play any kind of a fast roll using your fingers. Whoops. You should be able to get that burn going. Okay, so make sure when you're playing, you've got that blood flow happening. Both arms. Not here, wrong. Not in here, over here, and right there. That muscle. That's what you want to feel. And you can shake it out a little bit. And this over time will strengthen and develop your muscles in your arm to be able to last longer and play smoother on the drum kit, okay? Now, everybody is different. I had a comment on my YouTube channel the other day that made me laugh. I was talking about the Billy Gladstone technique, and the Billy Gladstone technique is the finger technique. So, as you can see here, I'm getting the sticks to bounce, but I'm using my fingers and trying not to move my wrist too much. It's hard in my left hand because of my middle finger, but my right hand is better right now. Used to be worse. But I'm getting my fingers to move. And getting your fingers to move in association with the bounce, in association with the free stroke, that essentially is the Billy Gladstone technique. Getting those fingers to move freely, actively, loosely, relaxed. In conjunction with your wrist, in conjunction with how you're holding the sticks nice and loose and relaxed, and getting the stick to move the way that it wants to move naturally. Okay? So that's the Billy Gladstone. So he said, how long is this going to take me to learn? 10 years? And I'm like, well, if you do it once every 2 months and you spend 5 minutes at it, probably going to take even longer than 10 years. But if you spend, let's say you spend once a week, well, your development is going to take some time. It is going to be a few years, without a doubt. If you do it twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, you're doing it every day. You're doing it every day, we're talking months. Now we're down to developing this technique in months. That's the big question I always get. How long is it going to take me to get this groove? How long is it going to get me to take this technique? Well, it all depends on how much effort you put into it. It's like anything. You go and take a baseball and you throw it and you throw it and you throw it. You do that every day for 2 hours, you're going to get good at throwing a baseball. You know, as long as you're getting good instruction and you've got a coach and a person that shows you the technique and how to put your weight behind the throws and how to be super relaxed and loose in your throw, same principles applied to drumming can be applied to sports and athletics. Watch how graceful a guy throws a ball. Watch a basketball player, a football player, how graceful they are when they throw it, how loose they are, even though they've got 300-pound men charging at them ready to kill them, but the guy is loose and relaxed and he's got a bullet throw. That's technique. That guy has practiced that over and over and over and over and over. The only way to get good at this is practice, people. There is no other way around it. Do not think there's a shortcut. There's no pill for this. There's no weight loss. There's no drum speed, drum technique pill. It's time and effort. I put the hours in. I put the time in. And I've developed this technique to a level that I'm comfortable with. Now, like I said, because of my hand problem, it's come back down a little bit, and I'm still working on getting it back up again. So I'm in the process of practicing every day to try and get my hands back to where they were. I'm still working on it. I'm a work in progress. You know, Dom Familaro told me a story about Jim Chapin when he was dying. He got a call from the hospital, from the doctor saying, you better come in. He's not going to make it through the night. Okay, so Dom comes in to the hospital. While he's talking to the doctor outside of Jim Chapin's room, hospital room, he hears this sound. He hears the sound that he knows, familiar with. It's a drum pad. And he walks into the room and he says, what the hell are you doing? And Jim says, I'm trying to work on my left hand. It needs work. And Dom's like, I don't understand what's going on here. The doctor, like in his head, he's thinking, the doctor just told me this guy's on his deathbed. He's in here worrying about his left hand, working on his left hand technique. I mean, it's funny. Sadly, Jim did die the next day, sadly. And Dom told me this story. It's heartbreaking, but at the same time, you want to talk about a guy, Jim Chapin, that was dedicated right to the end. It almost brings tears to me about how much dedication, how much time that guy put into perfecting his drum playing and his drum technique. It's, guys like him, I really admire those kind of people that can put that kind of time in. Now, it's really sad that he wasn't able to keep practicing and Jim in his 80s still trying to get better. I mean, that just it's inspiring, people. It's motivating and it's inspiring. And this is what I try to get my students to do. Be motivated, be inspired. You want to be good at drums? You got to practice your ass off. There is no easy, gimmicky thing. And I know I'm a broken record, but that's okay. Yes, so like I said, I'm still working that left hand. Feels weak to me. Might look okay to the viewer or whatever, but to me, my left hand, I'm still struggling with it. It's sore too. The treatment I had today, the guy really puts me through my paces. So anyways, Zeke and Liam, I want to thank you guys for checking in with me today, and anyone else that may have came in and left. Means a lot to me. I'm trying to do these live streams a little bit more often and trying to get people in to try and gain knowledge from what I'm trying to show you, because I learned this from the best. Dom Familaro is the best. He's an incredible teacher, one of the top drummers in the world, and he's the best at this technique. Mind-blowing. And I'm just trying to show you what I learned from legends like him. So, thank you very much for joining me. Until next time, keep drumming. See ya.